Raise your horns high and let your spirit flow. It's the classic metal wrap-up show. Feel the rush, let the loudness grow. It's the classic metal wrap-up show.
All right, so you caught the show last night, right? I did. I think I was mentioning to you that I actually found a WNBA show game a little bit more interesting, and I almost was a little disappointed to break away only to listen to another hour of just the same old bullshit.
I had two nights out in the woods, me and Don Doc, and just a couple of guys doing guy stuff. And I came back home on a Saturday afternoon, and I was tired, because I'm an older type of guy here, and so I had a couple of cocktails, and we were chit chatting, and then all of a sudden I fell asleep on the couch, and then I woke up and I looked at my phone, and it said 6:20. I was like, oh, I'm late for the CMS. I got to check the CMS. And
Yeah,
I turned it on and I went, whoa, we're
yeah,
going back over the same old stuff.
yeah.
The,
Same
the,
old
the
stuff.
busy week, busy
Yeah,
beaver. Okay.
I
Didn't
was
get to talk to you
sick.
too
Yeah.
much. I was sick. Yeah, we didn't do that. Okay. I got docking coming up next weekend. Got my docking shows I'm going to in Lima and
Mm-hmm.
Lima, however you say it.
Lima. Yeah.
And St. Charles. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah. Odd. I'm not. Is the show dead? No. Does it need a jump start? Probably.
Yeah.
The idea also, let's just throw this out there. Evil's going to go on record as saying them influencing Plush and Plush's
Right.
stage attire.
Right.
I just, and I don't know, man. Is that a bridge too far? Are you
Oh
tooting
yeah.
your own horn? Are you? The fact that they all wore red shirts means that now they're listening, or they all wore white shirts one night means that they're now listening to your guys's. Do you think that would be that Mariah and them would listen to, Ruben? Do you
I
think
don't
they would
even
go
think they're
back
in
and listen to?
communication. I mean, if you listen to the KK coach,
That's my point.
he made it sound like he was in communication with Mariah and the Plush ladies, and I don't even recall that ever being the case. It was mostly Chris who would be, slobbering all over himself every time he brought up Mariah. And I don't even think he's in communication. He may text her. I don't know that he gets responses back. Otherwise, he'd be bragging about it. But listen, they
But don't you
were.
think even a band? Hold on, real quick. Don't you think a band, even at where they're at now,
Mhm.
with what they have and PR and management, and everything, that's who you're going to probably go through to set something up to speak to them?
Oh
Or
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's
I mean,
or the
yeah,
publicist. For example, I've
yeah.
hit them up for Plush interviews, and I've heard from the publicist who I've worked with before, and she's like, yeah, they're working on something. We'll line something up when the time comes. But I don't think he has. He have been diverted through to the publicist now. I don't think he's actually communicating with her.
Well,
And
that
I
was
and
just
I
my feeling based
yeah,
upon the fact that they kind of went away and you weren't hearing
right,
from them. And then when you were hearing from them was because they kind of didn't have the name quite so established and they weren't
right,
doing all that they were doing. Now that they've got a foothold and they've got a career going and things
sure,
happening. I mean, and that's
sure,
no knock on them. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get
sure.
people that handle that shit for you because there's too many people wanting to talk
Well,
to you all the time and
and,
tell you what t-shirt to wear on stage, Ruben.
right. No, listen, if you go back and look at Plush, oh, I don't know. Go back and look at their Facebook page, let's say, and go back 3 months. They were one person away from being a unit that looked like they were a band, image wise. And it was the bass player who would always wear like the hippie 70s inspired type stuff. So listen, it was one person. They didn't revamp the whole image. It was one person that they probably pulled aside and said, we want you to look like you're part of the band. So, throw on some black pants and a blouse, long sleeve blouse or tank top or whatever, and look like you're part of the band. That's all it was. I mean, I think they're looking
Yeah.
more into it than it was. I mean, I think even with Foreigner, I think you and I had been chatting about the Foreigner thing because, I know somebody that works within Foreigner that said there's some news coming, and then now they're like, we predicted it. It's like most people saw that. I mean, I started asking questions, and that's how I was told that some news were coming down the road, and pooh, there you go. So.
Well, while I'm here, I forgot to mention I am I'm in Ed's second home in Vegas, and he's doing some podcasting back there. So he said I could talk to you guys up here for a little while he's back there rapping. I think he's got Scott Ian on the phone right
Scott.
now, as a matter of yeah.
I'm busy.
Yeah, yeah. Eating my PB and J. I'm busy.
I'm busy.
My thing is this. First off, on the plush take, Ashley is almost 50% supermodel and 50% bass player, right? I mean, she's got her own little, if you go to her Instagram and see what she's doing, she's got her own stuff outside of plush where she's singing this and playing there and doing this and modeling that. And so, but yes, she did definitely have the retro vibes compared to the others who are trying to have a more modern rock band look. What they put on the stage in the red outfits, all she really did was get red bell bottoms and still kind of a retro-y looking top, but it matched what they were all wearing, so it kind of made everybody tied together better. Awesome. But that's why you have her in the band. Let's be realistic. You don't want to have, I don't know, motorcycle mama over
Well,
here
it's
on
it's
the
not
bass
the
guitar.
it's not
You
the
want-
it's not the linebacker that the Donnas had on bass. That's for sure.
There you go. So anyways, but the idea that they would have, the influence would be coming from their management. The influence would be coming from themselves and their peers and how they want to portray themselves, not some, let's just be honest, some knucklehead podcasters in the Midwest in a cornfield. Fuck. They're not listening to me. I'm at Ed Trunk's house right now. They're not listening to me right now.
Yeah.
I'm with the master. So come on. Now they may call him later. That's who they might want to talk to.
Sure.
They're going to get on his show. And
Yeah,
do
he
his
worked
show.
for a label.
But
Yeah,
and they may actually listen to his input a little bit when they come on his show. But I do not know how much the CMS is actually influencing that.
And
band
like
what they're-
as we've pointed out, I mean, with all the racist and sexism, you think
That's
they're
my
going to
point,
listen to them? Get
we're
out
gonna
of here.
saddle up to that now. Well,
Right.
I think that the guy over here who's using the N word should tell me what I should wear on stage. That's
He's
just
over
weird.
here judging people on their looks, so I'm
And-
going to take advice from him.
Yeah, when we all know his major interest when it all started before she was ever plush was Mariah when she was an
Yeah.
underage female singer. So
Exactly.
there you go.
Exactly.
Kind of an odd one.
Yeah.
So, anyways, another oddity about last night's show that we'll go over before we hit some news and chit chat about the latest topics is that they're also very unusually familiar with Sex in the City.
Exactly.
What?
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm with you, man. Like, I've heard of this show because of my ex-wife. I remember
Yeah.
seeing the DVDs in the old days lying around my house, and I'd go, "Get this out of my view." I could not name a character. Tell
I
you
cannot
a
either.
plot. I would not. I could say that the one chick that used to be in the '80s movies, what was her name? Kim something. That's the only one I know. The other
Yeah.
one, the dog face girl, I know because she was married to Matthew Broderick.
I call her
That's another
Horseface. I know there's
There
a
you go,
redhead, there's a brunette, there's the Horseface, and then there's the blonde who thinks she's a 10 and really isn't.
Yeah, she's old.
And that's all I know.
Yeah. So my point is that like that's as far as it goes for me. It's like how could you even? So they went on and on. I was just like my head was spinning about how much they knew, and I was like, you guys really sat down episode by episode with your fucking popcorn watching this shit. What
This
the
wasn't a
fuck?
casual, oh, this is on and it's on as background noise type shit.
I'll be straight with my ex-wife. Put it on. I left the room.
Same here.
Watching this, I'll
Same
go watch
here.
TV in the other room. I'll go
Yeah,
out in the yard and do some yard work.
I
I'm coming
know
up with anything.
I know the opening theme, and I'm like, oh, gotta go do something else.
Time for me to go find something. I'll go read a book. I'll be back.
Yeah, there's got to be something I
that's-
need to do.
So the fact that those two guys who claim to be so, especially my brother. I mean, he's so, I got to date a 10. My masculinity has to be showing at all times. For him to be sitting around watching Sex in the City with our sister seems a little bit odd. So I don't know what's going on there. as far as it goes, we know what we're going to get next week, and that is a whole lot of the Dawkins talk, because he'll be fresh off a trip with Dawkins and the boys in Dawkins. So we'll, I'm sure, get for the 100th time a story about Dawkins. And no offense to Don, but Lima, I don't know. I mean, I guess
The
are any of
lovely
these
Taylor.
festivals? Are any of these festivals? What are they playing? I mean, the Arcada Theater is a theater,
Right.
but what is the other place they're playing? I can't even imagine that.
It was
I'm not.
It was like Families in the Park or some shit like that is what it sounded
Some
like.
community.
It was all
type thing.
ages.
Okay,
Yeah, it was all ages.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay. Well, then maybe they ponied up the dough and he's getting the pay. It seemed like an
Sure.
odd. It's like I can't see a whole lot of reasoning for me to go to Lima. No one even knows who the fuck Evil is. Why would Don Dawkins want to go there?
I think Neely's forgetting that the possibility of him getting a little tug on those lunch lady arms is still out there.
Gonna be still out there.
So
on one of these
the
events, one of
longer
these shows.
Dawkins out there, I hope he's out there for a long time. Just keep him wondering when it's going to happen, and he feels a little
He
back
needs
of the
he
arms.
needs to there's going to be a moment when Don needs him out west, and he's going to have to swing in, and then all of a sudden,
Well, there's the whiskey show.
yeah. Oh, is that
In
when was that
November.
one going
I think
out?
it's in November.
All
Yeah.
right. I might have to take a look at the calendar on that.
Yeah, I know.
Not because I want to see the show. I don't know if I can sit through Don singing.
I don't think so either.
What the fucking turd he laid on stage last time at the whiskey probably
Yeah.
still has a little odor in there. And between that and the dump truck taking out the back wall, it might be
No
a
shit.
tough plus. But the point is, and does he not? Maybe I'm wrong, but it seemed to me like all of the times in past when I've heard of this Lima, Ohio place, it was for failed festivals, wasn't it? Wasn't there like
Yes.
some mud bowl festival?
Right, some mud something or
something
other.
in a cornfield that they were doing, and the guy didn't want to pay. There's always some
Right.
fucking shenanigans. So it just seems
Right.
like an odd place to go back. Let me go back there. That has a history of shenanigans, and go back and play that place again.
Right.
Anyways, that's the CMS. I did take note of a couple of news items and some general chit chat that might pertain to the Classic Metal Wrap Up Show, and hopefully, well, it is this way. Hopefully, Ed's not listening to me right now. So, because some of these people are close personal friends of Ed's, and they may come here to the second home in Vegas, and I don't want to offend him, but Vince has canceled another show.
Oh.
Yeah, he canceled the one up. He's supposed to be going to that casino with Piercy, I think.
Oh,
here,
that's right. That's right.
Backed out, and they put Sebastian Bach in his place. So,
That's
starting
definitely
to
an
wonder, is
upgrade,
that-
though, isn't it? I mean,
well, for the fans in the crowd, for the vocal harmonies and someone actually hitting the notes and singing, yes, but does make Evil wonder: is it just the breakup with the girlfriend? Is there more the medical procedure earlier and then the breakup? Is this a combo pack? We're hoping that Vance, no matter how much we bust his balls on the wrap-up show, and he's got his balls busted on the CMS as well. I don't think anyone wishes the man harm. We're just curious as to why there's so much canceling going on, and how will that affect the crew, who I think are trying to get back together here. I think at the end of summer they do something with Def Leppard in Mexico or something, and then they're trying to reschedule residency, I believe, at some point. So just makes you wonder. Hopefully Vance is not eating one too many cheeseburgers, steaks, ribs, lobster, and caused himself some larger problems. But that was one note. The other note that I think they brought up briefly on the CMS, and they played some of it.
So we got a little bit of a blip in the screen here. The power went out over at my place. So you were just saying White Snake.
Well, I'm thinking, did Aiken IT sabotage us because they didn't like the transmission? He was send these guys a signal and jam their signal over there. So White Snake was brought up on the CMS, and they're doing a one-off show with this Dino guy, I believe, singing. But my curiosity, as my mind goes to, is like, if Coverdale at his age could never climb off the couch, and it's just put your feet up and look at Lake Tahoe time, then why wouldn't you do what Mick Jones is doing and say, "Hey boys, this is I'm sanctioning you, so to speak, and you are now White Snake or White Snake 2.0, and you're hitting the road and doing some shows."
I think.
Is there anything that would be stopping that? Is there any reason why he would say?
Well, I think one of the things that these two knuckleheads had mentioned, and it made it sound like this was the first time this has ever happened, but it's happened. I think this happened about 5 years ago, except it included Reb Beach, and they did a similar gig, and they're not going out as Whitesnake. I forget what name they're using, but they've done it before. What is interesting is prior to Coverdale coming down with whatever ailment he came down with, he had that Dino Jalusic guy in as co-vocal and another keyboard. So it's like, dude, you have two keyboardists. Everybody in the band, in that band, can sing except Aldridge. I mean, so I don't know. I think he was kind of laying the groundwork going into that.
That was my point.
Tour.
That's how I felt.
Yeah. So I think
and
you're
I'm not
onto
knocking
something.
him or anyone. I'm just curious if that's what the process was: is bring this guy in the band, let him help me sing and get through these shows,
Right.
and
And
then
that's what it
at
was,
some point in time, because Tommy's been in the band a long time, so I'm sure David would trust his general leadership per se of the band on the road and getting through things and what they need to be doing. And I would imagine Coverdale could say, "Hey, you take the name, you give me this percent, and go play music, guys, and let people hear Whitesnake." I was just saying, it just seems to me like that's, if you're a Mick Jones, that's a wise option. What's the guy in Boston? The guy in Boston do something. Well, I guess he played with the band, but something similar in the sense that he's out there putting younger people on the instruments to complete the music. The point is, I just wondered if that's eventually where we go, because you can't expect Tommy Aldridge and these guys to sit around waiting for you forever. And if you're Coverdale and you're 75, what's the motivation if you can't do it physically?
Yeah.
You can't sound right. Okay, give me my, I don't know, whatever, 50% or 35% and send it here to Tahoe and go play shows under Whitesnake. If it sounds like Whitesnake and it does if Mick Jones can do it, what's stopping David Coverdale was my point.
Yeah, and I think that would be a fun show to at least watch once. Kind of like with the Dio hologram. Would that, that obviously didn't have traction for the long haul. That's like a novelty kind of thing. It's like you see it once and it's like, okay, I've seen it, I'm done. Something
well, and
like
I
this.
feel like Tommy Aldridge gives you your anchor to the classic Whitesnake in my mind. And so then, what's the difference between that and all, like I'm saying, if Dino can fill the shoes like Nate Peck is doing in Firehouse and Brett's doing in Great White, and now we got Todd and Queens, then I guess because it's not David Coverdale, they try to say it's not. Well, Mick Jones isn't in Foreigner and it still sounds like Foreigner. So it just seems to me like at some point in time that would be but so we got that, and then you brought up this, we'll just throw it out there, kind of sensitive topics here. So if you're a sensitive person, you may not want to hear some of these conversations, and this might offend some of the people in YouTube land, and I'm sure Rumble doesn't give a shit, so Rumble, it'll be out there no problem.
Right.
But apparently, you had mentioned this guy. I can't even say his name other than Sin. How do you say his last name? Sin.
What's his name? Querine or Querin?
Querine.
Yeah.
So a former Ministry guitar player, you were saying, had
Lords
some
of
accusations of inappropriate behavior that might make someone like Ronnie Radke jump out of the woodwork and start making videos about him. Well, now you got the Jared Leto guy. Apparently.
Yeah,
So
there we go.
accusations.
So we've had like the CMS, we've had some technical issues.
Difficulties.
It is fire season, so I don't know what the hell's going on, but we had a couple power surges and it fried my surge protector.
Yeah, and I don't know what the weather is wherever you are that are listening out there, but here in Southern Oregon, it is like upper 90s. It's really hot here right now. So early in the year for this kind of heat.
Yeah,
for us.
Right. So,
but yes, we might have to call Aiken IT and get him on the case and find out what the technical difficulties are and see if he can help solve them. But due to his illness last week, he may not be up to it at this point in time. He may be taking it easy, so to speak. So
we were blasting through a few things. We got through Plush. We got through the Whitesnake thing, and then we were getting into what?
Oh, we were just talking about the Jared Leto and
the Leto,
Sin
the
guy
pedo, Yeah,
they had accusations against Brent Woods a while back,
right.
and Radke's all over all
Radke.
these most of the Ronnie's the guy flying into the rescue of every
He's the white
situation and
knight.
trying to he's which who knows what's going on with it. He's humorous regardless, no matter what you
Sure.
think of him. He watches videos, you'll laugh your ass off. There is
Hmm.
funny shit going on there, but so I just thought it was interesting that more and more, as evil could suggest to all of these people, and there
Right.
might be even some people in the CMS sphere, let's just say, that might need to hear this advice that in the digital age, you will no longer be able to run, hide, or cover or conceal
Hmm.
your clandestine activities, ladies and
Right.
gentlemen. So if you're not already hip to this, if it's not being just picked up by someone who screenshotted something you said or recorded the video of what you put out there. And you damn know well the FBI, the NSA, the DIA, the CIA,
Well,
that all
all
these
that
agencies
stuff.
are wired in here, listening, taking in every word digitally, analyzing what comments you make and how you. So the idea that if there is any, and this is all allegedly, we will
Hmm.
continue to say it's allegedly until proven in a court of law, and many of these cases will never be because they'll be settled in private things out of NDAs out of court. But the bottom line is the idea in this time that you're going to get away with any of this shit, you're just stupid. You're
Hmm.
stupid. Even if you get away with it for a while, you will eventually get caught. Hello, people. They are taking DNA from people's cigarette butts and finding out that this is the serial killer from 1975, dude. So there's
Right.
absolutely no way in 2025 or the last 10 years that you're going to get away with any kind of shenanigans and not have someone eventually. And so in those regards, that's why I think Ronnie Radke is probably just calling out what he sees out there. Maybe he does have evidence. Maybe some of it's false shit. If it's false shit,
Hmm.
hopefully these people will sue him and force him into a situation to provide the documentation. I
Right.
think they call it discovery in the legal system.
Discover. Yeah. Right.
Uh, yeah, but it's just interesting that the more and more this comes out, be prepared, buckle up. More and more, you're going to find out that some of the people that you've heard of or looked up to or liked their movie or their music or this or that are fucking pieces of crap who are doing sick shit because they can, because they have money and power and opportunity. So and there, some cases might just be false accusations, and some poor schlep might just have someone making shit up about him, and it has nothing to do with anything he actually did. So, we all know that that can happen as well. So, I just thought that was rather interesting. One other odd note that before we leave here that I thought that was weird now that I think about it on the CMS last night was Aiken's going to make his own Spotify. We lost your mic again, I think.
Those fucking
Um,
gremlins. Yeah.
there it goes.
He. That's what he says. That's what he says. I mean, what was it? Think back. There was a time where wasn't he talking about he was doing something with frontiers and he was bragging about that. That never, nothing ever happened with that. I don't think. There was something that he was working with Johnny Gioeli of Hardline. They were going to do their own music platform type thing. I don't think that ever happened.
They do the collection though, right? They help artists collect
Yeah,
their
yeah,
so
yeah,
they have some kind of business together.
yeah. And so he's done some stuff that he boasts about, and nothing ever really materializes. I mean, but yeah, that's what I heard. I don't know. I
I
mean,
I
what's your
just thought in
take
my
on that?
mind like, well, my take is that any person thinking that they're going to step up with a new platform that's not rival, but even enter
Hmm.
the sphere and take out any percentage of a demographic that's something that's paying Joe Rogan hundred millions of dollars. I
Right.
just don't see you. That's like I mean, we're on Rumble and we enjoy Rumble. We thank Rumble for not censoring us. We're also on YouTube. So far, YouTube hasn't really censored us. They put a couple copyright things on there, let people know that we are reviewing their other stuff or whatever. But they've
Hmm.
let it go up, but not taken it down. So I have no complaints so
Right.
far. But my point is that anyone thinking that you're going to enter that even right now, let's say when I go use Rumble, I like Rumble, but I actually think it still has features and things that seem a little clunky and not
Hmm.
quite so user friendly like YouTube does. So the idea,
Right.
and that's Rumble trying to take on YouTube and their platform, and that's not quite. So how is Aiken going to come up with anything that anyone's ever going to hear or use? I remember when he was going to help pick up with Braverman and do the heavy
Oh,
metal television and make
right.
this a multimedia thing, and then that didn't really ever take off or go
Mm-mm.
anywhere
And
either. And pretty
remember
soon we never.
the app that he needed
Yeah.
to order a phone, and it's like, what? You need to order a specific what? You can go buy a fucking burner phone at Walmart.
So my point is that yeah, I just thought that was an odd thing to say. You're going to make a platform that's going to rival something that's got the biggest podcaster on the
And he's
planet.
a broke dick. I mean, who's going to bankroll that? Neely? I don't think
Well, that's
Neely. His brother, the millionaire, doesn't he brag that his brother's like a millionaire or something?
maybe again, I don't. There's just so much going to unpack there. Even evil, who's somewhere in this sphere, cannot possibly keep up. I'm over here with that. Well, I'm over here with. I'm in with that. So, oh, we lost your mic again.
Ed,
You got
if
your grip.
Ed, there we go. If Ed said he was gonna do something like that, then you know
Then
he
we
has
might,
contacts. You know he may
that
have
someone's
somebody
trying to make a platform that's actually trying to get off the ground or something's happening.
right.
But
But Aiken, come on, he's a broke dick, and you know Ed's not exactly rich, but he does know people.
yes, and I mean he has connections with people and companies that might actually, But even he obviously can't get that metal show back on the air. It's not like you could just flick a switch and have some guy pay you to put something on the air. And I just thought the idea that something is going to threaten Spotify sounds, or even be in the realm of, or even like, it just seemed odd to me. I was like, okay, I don't know if that's
Right.
gonna ever. I mean, how many people are subscribing to that? 50, 100? I don't think
Well,
that's
and
going to
then
survive
there's
the platform.
Apple Music. There's um, or Apple Podcast too, and Amazon has their own thing, and you know,
You can
I
get your
mean,
podcast right off YouTube.
well, think about that. Remember, Neil Young had his Pono, which was like high fidelity downloads that you could
Audio,
put in
yeah.
the audio that you could put into your like a little, um, basically a little device that played the music back. I mean, that guy had a lot of money, has a lot of money, and that thing shit the bed.
That's my point. It's like entering the tech world and thinking you're going to put anything up against any one of these well-established, long running companies is just kind of seems like, why
Maybe
are
the
you
next step he's going to come up with his own iPhone, the Aiken phone,
the Aiken IT
the
phone?
Aiken IT phone. He's such a
And well,
dickhead.
I mean, if that would get evil a direct line to my brother Wendell, so he would actually respond to me, then that might be a phone that evil would go by. But
They-
last night they were also making strong commentary that everyone should be on the locals, and that's the only thing they give an F about. And
Yeah,
that's the only
money.
thing that's going to get the updates is money, money. And how for years they
Right.
would go on there saying, "This is about money. We'll never charge you. We'll always be free." I mean, I heard that for like 10 years. And then
And now,
now it's
now
a
even
complete,
speech isn't free. They'll delete.
yeah.
They'll mute you on the Rumble chat, but if you're not one of the clones tongue nuzzling
There
their
you go.
taint.
And this is the reason why evil won't shut. It's not the matter of the shekels. It's that I'm going to spend the shekels and then you're still going to ban me. Let's be straight.
Sure.
You're not going to give me an actual even platform to start commenting and getting back in the show.
Right.
So, okay. No point in me spending the shekels if I'm just going to receive the ban regardless.
And
So,
and they've also muted people in the sense that they don't take calls. You know, they're basically not taking calls, which I think that was the big part of the show because you have somebody like Barden call in. Yes, he's a crackpot, but he kept the show moving. You have Tim James who had some kind of out there takes. Some of them I agreed with, some of them not so. But there was an entertainment value to it, you know, where they'd mix it up with him and yeah, sure they'd overdo it and probably bust his balls a little too much, but you know, and then you had like Ozzy Ace again, another one of those crackpot callers, but he kept the show going and he was funny.
yeah. And you had the racist Lou from the Lou.
Lou from the Lou, right?
Which
Right.
even though he was going, but he would call in and kind of throw a curveball to the conversation, take it somewhere else, even if I didn't really find him all that. But it was at least mildly entertaining, and you would it would put a spin and something different into the show. I definitely find that they're obviously not doing. I think we know why they're
Yeah.
not doing that anymore, and
Right.
that does limit things, and it
Mhm.
now kind of leads to this retreading of the topics because it's just the same two guys with no one else to bounce anything off of, no new ideas. And the other part of the old show I miss was you almost could predict that if they got into Motley Crue, Tim James is going to call.
Right.
If they got into Queensryche, the real Jeff Tate
yeah.
is going to chime in at some
Right.
point. And
Raise your horn